Join me in this episode to find out why Roadcraft is perfect for everyday riders. Stay tuned. Hi folks. Well, over the last few days I watched a YouTube video claiming that the UK police motorcycle system, Roadcraft, isn't really suitable for everyday riders. Now, as a retired police advanced rider, advanced instructor, DSA instructor, Bikesafe assessor, and somebody who's spent years teaching this system both professionally and in the real world, I completely disagree. And in this video, I want to explain why. Not emotionally, not defensively, but logically. Because here's the thing. Roadcraft was never designed to make people ride like robots. It wasn't designed to make you slow, and it certainly wasn't designed only for blue light riders. It was designed to help riders make better decisions, earlier, smoother and safer. And that applies whether you ride a BMW GS across Europe, a commuter scooter into town, or a sports bike on a Sunday blast. So while I've got the video running of our trip down Grossglockner, let's break this down properly. So one of the biggest problems in these types of discussions is that people misunderstand what Roadcraft actually is. Roadcraft is not a rigid set of rules. It's not you must always ride like this, and it's definitely not a magic formula that removes rider judgment. Roadcraft is quite simply a system. And systems exist because humans are inconsistent. And when things go wrong on motorcycles, it's usually not because riders lack bravery, it's because they lack time. They saw something too late. They reacted too late. They positioned badly. They entered too fast. Or they overloaded themselves mentally. Roadcraft exists to reduce workload. And that's the part that many people miss. The police system isn't about complexity, it's actually about simplification. Instead of random reactions, you follow a repeatable process. Information, position, speed, gear and acceleration. And no, you don't mechanically chant that in your head all day. With experience, it becomes automatic. Just like changing gear, or a shoulder check, or counter steering. The system creates structure, and structure creates consistency. And consistency is what keeps riders alive. Now, one criticism often made is that Roadcraft is too complicated for ordinary riders. Honestly, I think that the exact opposite is true. Roadcraft is most valuable for ordinary riders. Why? Because professional riders usually already have experience, confidence and high mileage. The average everyday rider may ride a few times a week, occasionally in bad weather, sometimes while tired, maybe after weeks off the bike, and often in heavy traffic. That rider benefits massively from having a mental framework. For example, imagine you're approaching a blind bend. Without a system, many riders simply feel the way in. But with Roadcraft, the rider is consistently asking, what can I see? What can't I see? What information am I getting? What position improves my vision? What speed allows me to stop in the distance I can see to be clear? Now that isn't overcomplication, that is intelligent riding. In fact, once learned properly, the system reduces mental effort. You stop improvising, you stop rushing, you stop panicking, and that's hugely valuable for everyday riders. Another argument I hear is, well, police riders operate differently because they've got training, authority, exemptions or blue lights. And yes, emergency response riding is different to everyday riding. But the core principles of Roadcraft are not about blue lights. They're about observation, anticipation, planning, smoothness, safety margins, machine sympathy, stability, road positioning, reading hazards early. And those things absolutely apply to normal riders. In fact, if anything, civilians need them more because they don't have the protection of the training teams, the fleet support, or constant riding exposure. A rider going to work on a wet Tuesday morning benefits enormously from good observations, good positioning, planning ahead, smooth control inputs, and hazard anticipation. That is roadcraft. People often confuse advanced riding with fast riding. True, advanced riding is about control. A truly advanced rider should look calm, smooth, unhurried, predictive, not dramatic. And one thing years of police riding taught me is that smooth riders are usually fast riders, but fast riders are not always smooth riders, and that distinction matters. In my opinion, the greatest strength of roadcraft is observations. Not cornering, not speed, not overtakes. Observation. Because as motorcyclists, we're vulnerable. We don't have airbags, although you might have airbags on your helmet nowadays or in your jacket, but we don't have crumple zones. We don't have a lot of protection at all. Our survival depends on seeing problems early. Roadcraft trains riders to think ahead continuously, not just react. And that means reading body language from drivers, spotting escape routes, identifying surface changes, recognising hidden junctions, seeing developing hazards before they become emergencies. Good riders don't simply ride the road, they read the environment. And this is where roadcraft excels. The system encourages riders to stay mentally ahead of the motorcycle, and that single skill alone can prevent huge number of crashes. Now this one really interests me. Some people argue that roadcraft removes the enjoyment from riding. Again, I disagree completely here, because for me, enjoyment comes from confidence. It comes from flowing with the bike. It comes from reading the roads well. It comes from smoothness. It comes from feeling in control. And roadcraft improves all of those things. The better your observations become, the less surprises you get. The smoother your planning becomes, the more stable the bike feels. The more accurately you judge bends, the more enjoyable country roads become. You stop surviving rides and you start mastering them. Now, of course, if somebody treats roadcraft like a rigid checklist and becomes robotic, yes, riding could feel sterile. But that's not a problem with the system. That's a problem with how it's been taught or interpreted. The best police riders I ever knew looked effortless, fluid, relaxed and natural. The system should support riding and not dominate it. Another huge misconception is that roadcraft only works in one type of riding, and that's simply untrue. The principles adapt. Urban commuting, roadcraft helps. Touring, roadcraft helps. Wet weather, roadcraft helps. Group riding, roadcraft helps. Filtering, twisty mountain roads, roadcraft definitely helps, because the principles remain the same. Information, planning, positioning, stability, vision, smoothness. You just simply scale and adapt them, and that adaptability is actually one of the system's greatest strengths. It isn't a racing technique, it isn't tied to one motorcycle, it isn't linked to one style. It's a framework for decision making, and good decision making never goes out of fashion. Now here's where I will partly agree with some critics. Sometimes roadcraft has been taught badly. Some instructors overcomplicate it, some become overly rigid, and some focus on the method more than the rider. And yes, that can put people off and get the wrong impression. I've seen riders leave advanced courses feeling intimidated or overwhelmed, and that's unfortunate, because the goal should never be to create clones. The goal should be to create thinking riders. A good instructor adapts the system to the individual. And not everybody rides the same. Not everybody has the same confidence. Not everybody rides the same bikes. Roadcraft should be a toolbox, not a religion. And when taught correctly, it empowers riders enormously. So over the years, I've ridden emergency response, high-speed roads, urban traffic, terrible weather, long-distance touring, advanced assessments, advanced training, training environments, instruction. And I can honestly say this: the police system consistently produced calmer, safer and smoother riders. Not perfect riders, no system can do that, but riders who thought further ahead, riders who made fewer sudden inputs, riders who handled pressure better, riders who understood roadcraft instead of simply operating a bike. And the beauty of the system is this: you can apply as much or as little as you choose. Even if somebody only improves their observations or their bend assessment, their planning, their positioning, they become a better rider, and that is valuable. So is roadcraft perfect? No, nothing is. Can it be taught badly? Absolutely. Can riders become over mechanical with it? Yes. But the idea that roadcraft is somehow unsuitable for everyday riders, I completely and utterly reject that. At its heart, roadcraft is simply structured observation, intelligent planning, smooth machine control, hazard anticipation, building time and space, and those are universal riding skills. And if more riders applied even part of the system consistently, I genuinely believe that we'd see fewer crashes, smoother riding and more confidence on the roads. The system isn't there to remove freedom, it's there to support judgment. And ultimately, that's what advanced riding is really about. Not ego, not speed, not showing off, judgment. But I'd genuinely like to hear your thoughts. Do you think roadcraft works for everyday riders? Have you taken advanced training? What helped you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, don't forget to like, subscribe and join us for more riding tips, touring advice and advanced riding discussions here on Let's Ride Bikes. Ride safe, everybody.